Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of How to Get Hired. I am Bill, the company's expert, and this is the weekly live stream where you guys can ask me questions, and we talk about everything related to how to get a job, anything to do with resumes, careers, networking, interviews, job interviews, informational interviews, everything related to your career, getting a promotion, negotiating salary, all that kind of stuff. That's all on the table. And if I can help you with something that you are struggling with or wondering about, that's what this is all about. So let me know if you have anything you'd like to ask. If you see my face right now, you should see a chat box somewhere in the vicinity of my face. And get in the chat box and let me know what you're wondering about. And that's what we're going to be talking about. And like I kind of did on my previous live stream, I'm just going to start this live stream while we're waiting for questions to roll in. I'm going to make sure everybody understands the two announcements that I had regarding my new course here, Write Like a Professional. And that's actually relevant to people who are learning how to get a job via networking. If you don't know this already, networking is by far the number one method that is used by people who have jobs to get their job. And I even asked everybody that question in a recent public opinion poll. I said, the last job that you had, how did you get it? Was it through applying to a public job posting that you saw on the internet, like through Indeed or some other website? Or was it through some form of networking? And well over 50% responded, 50% of people who responded said it was through networking. And that tends to confirm all the statistics that you can easily look up when it comes to this. It's actually a shock to a lot of people because I think in school, young people and maybe in their 20s, when they come out of school, they're taught that the way you get a job is you respond to a job posting and you go through a recruiter. That certainly is a method, but it is not the only method, it's actually not even the most popular method. Networking is the most popular method. So if you are in that place, okay, if you are engaged in networking type activity, if you are reaching out to hiring managers who work in businesses or organizations that are near you, that are in your industry, these people who have potential to hire someone like you, if you're reaching out to them, and trying to initiate contact, that's an example of business writing in, where it has to be very professional. And that's where this course here, Write Like a Professional, that's one obvious place where that can help you. So if you're trying to climb the corporate ladder and get into an executive type job, obviously something that you really need to improve on to work as a middle manager or an executive manager is your networking skills, and in particular your writing skills, and in particular your written communication. So that's what this course is all about. And there's a little bit of a promotion. I've never done a promotion before for any of my courses, but I've decided two things. Number one, if you have taken any one of my courses before, like you've taken the Get Hired course or the $100 MBA. If you've gotten any two of my courses, you get the third one for free. So if that means anything to you, then you can take advantage of this. Let me know if you want any more details about that. And the other sort of announcement about it was that until December 1st, this course here, Write Like a Professional, that is at a discount. You have a 25% off. So instead of $100, it's $75. So if that's anything you're interested in, check that out. And I have the link finally. The link is in the description box under this live stream. So if you're interested in checking it out, this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is the page for the course. You can read about it. It's similar format to my other courses. And then you can get it right now. It's at $75. So there you go. And Larry Hornet is back once again, back for another round. And we're back. Any general tips on networking for a foreigner looking for work in the US? I don't think the foreigner part really enters into it. If you are in the US, then it shouldn't matter. The only thing is if you are like networking encompasses many different types of activity. There's many ways to network. And in the previous live stream, I had mentioned informational interviews. That's one method of networking. That's not the simplest method. It's one of the more labor-intensive methods. You got to put a lot more work in for that. But that is one method. Now, if you are doing something like that, your ability to speak English fluently is really going to help, right? You know, I mean, I'm not an expert on the US. I'm not in the US. So I know that in some parts of the US, they do speak Spanish and other languages in little communities and stuff. So I mean, whatever the language is that we're talking about in your particular little part of the country, speaking the language fluently and clearly really helps. Okay. If you are not doing the informational interview side of things, if you're doing more of a written message-based networking approach through social media, you know, if you're doing that, if you're on LinkedIn and you're reaching out to people that way, you know, to hiring managers, then, you know, obviously being able to write properly helps. And yes, I'm going to, you know, push my course because that is, I keep pointing the wrong way. My screen is flipped, so that's why it's sometimes hard. And I got writing on both sides of me, so it's hard. But I'm obviously going to push this. That is one of the reasons I created this course. That's one of the applications for it. So if you're sending people DMs on LinkedIn or something to reach out and, you know, from the simple to the complex, like on the simple side, you would send a message. You'd say, hello, I'm here. I have these skills. I'm great at doing this. If ever you're looking for someone that can do that, you know, I'd love to work at your company. Please keep my name in mind. Have a good day. You know, something like that. Being able to send a message like that without having it be riddled with spelling, grammatical, and punctuation errors, you know, is pretty important. Otherwise, it signals a whole bunch of negative things about you. It signals that either you don't know enough to do it properly or you don't care enough to do it properly. And I don't know which one of those is worse. You know, it can dissuade people from responding to you. So, and also just understanding some of the general rules of how to interact with people, you know, in a sort of business context when you're reaching out to someone you don't know. Things like that, right? I recognize this person. Classic Italian Culture says, if the hiring team told me they will get back in 2 weeks, is it worrying not being contacted before that? No, I'd be surprised if, like, look, that's a line that a lot of recruiters love to say, you know, like it's very similar to we'll get back to you, right? Which of course means we will not get back to you, right? So I wouldn't be worried that, you know, they didn't get back to you before when they said they would get back to you. One of your ex-colleagues received an offer after 2 days for a similar position, and I am worried. Listen, Classic Italian Culture. And it says, thanks for everything. You're welcome. Listen, this is how this works, okay? The hiring process, the biggest element to it, and people are going to hate me for saying this, but the biggest element to it is random chance. It really is. Like, you could do everything correctly, and yet people don't respond. They don't want to hire you. It's not because you did something wrong, and it's not because you are unemployable or undesirable in some way. It's just that they don't happen to be looking for exactly what you have, or if they are, you know, many people apply and they can't hire everyone. They have to pick one, and sometimes it's just almost random who they pick. That is the reality, especially for lower level jobs, like under the manager level. That really is the reality of how this stuff goes. And I know because I've been on the other side of the table. You know, you talk to a lot of people that would be perfectly fine. You would have no problem hiring them, but you can only pick one. And so in order to determine which person you're going to pick, it practically comes down to random chance. You know, it has nothing to do whether people are better than the others, or, you know, people have like weird personal tastes and things. And, so the bottom line is that it's almost like a game of chance. It's almost like playing, heads or tails, right? I mean, you flip it once, you don't get heads. You want heads, you call heads. It doesn't land on heads. You get it tails. So what do? You try it again, right? Now, if you're extra unlucky, you get tails again. So what do? You try it again, and then you get a heads, right? So the more opportunities you put yourself out for, the quicker this process is going to be, okay? You've got the annoying situation where you have to keep the quality high, but then you've also got to raise the quantity too. It's hard to do. You try and do the best job you can, take every opportunity seriously and do your best, but then do as many of those as you possibly can, and something will come along. It's just a crapshoot. It's random for a lot of people. That's the reality. Despite how much recruiters would like to have you believe that it's a very scientific process and they're looking for very specific things, and it really isn't. You do your best, and the fact that you can interview with a company and they don't pick you, but then you interview with another company and you pretty much give the same interview. You have the same resume, same answers to the questions, but they hire you, they pick you. Now, what's changed? You haven't changed. It's the people on the other side of the table have changed, right? So it's not a reflection on you. You just got to keep going, right? So don't be worried. You gave it your best shot. You have no control over what these people do, right? All you have control over is yourself. So instead of waiting by the phone and stressing yourself out, keep looking forward to the next opportunity. Find more opportunities and put yourself out there for them. Pursue them. Apply to jobs. Try networking stuff, and trust me, something will come along pretty soon if you're doing that. Okay, and it'll work out. And don't measure your success over what your colleague managed to get. Okay, what is the most likely scenario is that either they have some kind of weird personal connection you don't, I suppose, but what's more likely is that it's just random chance. Okay. I know this is easier said than done to apply, but that's how you got to think, because that is the reality of what's going on. Classic Italian culture, always applying to new positions until one offer will be received anyway. Well, good. That's all you can do. Just keep doing it. And if you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and it isn't really going anywhere fast, just kind of be aware to possibly investigate other methods of getting jobs too. There are many different methods you can employ. So don't do one or two over and over and over again, like 6 months, and nothing's happening. Investigate some of the others. Larry says, couldn't agree with you more. Expert, every successful acquaintance I have says one common thing: just wait until it's your time to get lucky. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's best practices. There's things you can do that, that all things being equal, you'll have a greater chance of it working out. But if you're doing all those, you know what I mean? That's all you can do, right? You don't have control over the other party. The great thing that hopefully is encouraging to a lot of people is to know that there's a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot. Like, for example, all the jobs that you see that are posted, that's something like 20% of all the jobs that are actually out there. The other 80% are out there, they're hidden. So, if you're looking for stuff and you don't really see that many things that apply to you, the good news is there's a lot more. And the more desirable ones are actually the ones that are not posted, right? So you uncover those with the various networking techniques, right? That's how you put yourself forward for those and get those. Right? And hopefully everybody understands what I mean by networking. It's not like what you see in the movies. Everybody has this idea that like, oh, you just have to know a million people. It's like, no, you don't. Networking is you reach out to people. Right? Hopefully you guys have seen me do that little demonstration where you go to Google Maps and you look up like your city or your location. So you see a map of your hometown. And then in Google Maps, right at the search box, as you're looking at a map of your hometown, you type in the name of the industries, right? We were talking earlier about jet skis. So you would type in jet ski, bam, all the jet ski dealerships pop up, all the jet ski retailers, wholesalers, repair shops, manufacturers, parts suppliers, they all pop up, bam. So if you have some expertise in jet skis and that's what you want to work on, or work with in some capacity, you start by investigating those companies. You then go over to LinkedIn. Every single one of those companies that pops up, you can use LinkedIn to see inside of those companies. Look at the individuals. There's several individuals that could be decision makers. There's the owner, there's the general manager, there's maybe the head of a certain department where you'd want to ideally work. You contact those people, you send them a message. As I said earlier, the simplest form is to say, hello, I'm here. I'm an expert jet ski repair person or whatever you are. If ever you're looking for someone who can, repair any jet ski issue you've ever encountered or knows every part in a jet ski or, whatever it is, if ever you're looking for someone like that, let me know. Keep my name in mind because I would love to work for you. Have a great day, right? That's the most basic thing you can do. And after you put out several hundred of those to all these people that you found in about half an hour, right? Most of them are not going to reply because they're not hiring right now, but some of them will. And then you have something like 5 to 10 job interviews lined up, right? So, there's things like this that it's possible to do that not a lot of people are really aware of, and not a lot of people do. They spend their time looking at posted job positions and just applying to them with job applications, which can work, but you've got a lot stiffer competition for those jobs. And usually they're not as good of a job as the ones that are hidden, because the hidden ones don't need to be posted. They can be filled because there's such a demand for them. They're very desirable. You don't have to publicize it far and wide to find someone that would want to do it, right? Those are the good ones. Anyway, how's that for a monologue? Gabriel says, "Hi, I'm new to the channel. Could you make a video about sales interview?" What do you mean, sales interview? Like you're trying to sell somebody? You're doing industrial sales, or you're talking about job interviews? This is a live stream where we talk about basically anything to do with like how to get a job. So job interviews is would be the first thing that comes to mind. Mohammed, I'm not going to make a video when I'm live here and I can just answer a question. So if you have a specific question about a sales interview, you could just ask it and I could maybe give you an answer. Mohammed says, "Greetings to you. Kindly give me the advice. Which one is better? A job I have right now with a good salary but delaying salaries for 3 months, or a new job in another company with less salary but paying salaries to their employees regularly every month?" Okay, well, let me ask you a qualifying question here, Mohammed. Are they actually, in your current job, were they giving you a higher salary? Are you getting your salary? Is it just that it's paid in arrears, like they wait 3 months before paying you? So that means that the money that you're making now is what you worked for 3 months ago? Because what it sounds like is you're saying that not only are they delaying your payment, but they're not really paying you for the work you've done. That's what I'm reading into what you said. Now, if that's the case, first of all, they're doing something illegal, depending on what country you live in the world. In most countries, it is illegal to employ someone and tell them you're going to pay them something and then have them officially work for you and then not pay them. You know what I mean? Unless that company is in bankruptcy or some weird circumstances, it's actually illegal to do that. You could blow the whistle on them quite easily just by calling the government. In most countries, they'll have the website for the government branch that deals with employment standards and labor laws, and they'll have like a toll-free number usually. And you don't have to give your name in a lot of cases. You could just say, hey, this, just so you know, this company here is doing this. And if you investigate, you will find proof of that. And I just want you to know. But that's illegal if that's what they're doing. Secondly, it's better to have like a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. It's better to be at a job where they're currently paying you rather than the chance of you jumping to another company. They might not honor their employment contract. They could rescind an employment offer. I mean, there's risk involved. So if you're going to jump somewhere else in order to make that worthwhile, all things being equal, they would have to pay you a little bit more, or else it's not worth your while, right? So I would say stay where you are if they're just paying you in arrears. But if they're not paying you at all, then obviously that's bad and you can't trust them. So I would fix to leave if that's accurate. Gabriel, videos aimed to sales manager, sell this pen and stuff. Well, haven't they made like about 400,000 videos on like how to sell this pen? And the answer is always like, you've got to ask a bunch of questions about the customer instead of like pushing it on them. You've got to like get information about them and tailor your sales pitch to what their needs are, right? So that's my answer to that. I mean, those already exist. I don't think I could really add anything to that. Mohammed, delaying salaries for 2 or 3 months. Well, delaying means like what? That you're owed it. You should have received it today, but you won't get it for another 2 or 3 months just because they're playing games. I kind of stand by what I said. I mean, that sounds like they're not playing by the rules, in which case they would have to have a damn good excuse for me to be okay with that. That's not something that, good companies do. You know what I mean? Like if there's something in your employment contract, that some clause or something that allows for that, that's one thing. But if they're just playing games or they're about to go out of business, either way you slice it, it's not good, right? So I would say if they're playing games like that, or they're nearly bankrupt and they can't make their payroll, you may want to look for something more secure, right? If it were me, I would not quit my job. I would stay where I am and I would pursue the job opportunity with the second company and see if you can get it, if you can get an offer, okay? And I would wait to quit my current job until the last possible moment, okay? Even if you had to waive like a notice period, in which case they dock you pay. But it sounds like they're docking you pay anyway, right? So, I mean, what have you got to lose, So, if they're playing games and they're not behaving in an ethical manner, then, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they deserve that in return. You know what I mean? I mean, what are they going to do? If they're almost out of money, they're not going to sue you. You know what I mean? So, that's what I would do. I'd pursue the other opportunity. I'd go for it. Even though it's less money, in the meantime, maybe things will improve, in which case you stay. But if they don't, you got something a bit more secure. So that's kind of what I would say, knowing what I know. But that's a good question, Mohammed. That's a bit of a dilemma. It's not easy. Like, the thing is, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You can only guess, right? But what everyone does in that situation is to try and predict the future. You look at the past. What's the precedent? If these people have a history of not honoring their agreements, not paying you when they said they're going to pay you, that signals that, it's not likely to go smoothly in future, right? If they're capable of doing that and they don't provide any kind of believable, reasonable explanation, that signals to you what their behavior is going to be like in the future. So you can, most people just assume that that's how they're going to behave in the future. So that's what the future is going to look like. So if that doesn't work for you, maybe it's time to jump. And if you are going to jump, it's a little bit easier to jump when you're currently employed rather than being laid off first or fired first, and then you're unemployed. And then sometimes it's a little bit harder to get a job when you're currently unemployed, right? Not all the time, but sometimes it is, depending on what industry and how some of the people you're dealing with think. So hopefully that makes sense. While we're waiting for the next question, this is what my new course looks like. As I said, the page, I just put up the page about 2 or 3 hours ago. It's been up for about 2 or 3 hours. So I haven't even tested, the purchasing and all that kind of stuff. So if anyone buys it today, let me know if it worked for you or there was any issues with it, and I will make sure that I fix it. I'm not expecting anything to go wrong. The only method I think at this moment that you can pay is with PayPal. I'm not sure, but I'll be adding other payment methods for that too. So there you go. If you are doing the networking side of things, this course will help you tremendously with certainly the written component of that. When you're sending messages and things like this, how to give a good first impression, how to signal that you're a professional, educated, forthright person, right? Nothing amateur about you, nothing shady about you, and nothing that would give them pause or any reason to, question anything about you, right? Also, you learn the methods of being able to, when you reach out to somebody that you haven't been dealing with previously, what to say, what not to say, and things like this in order to get the desired response. So there you go. If anybody has any questions about resumes, salary negotiation, careers, promotions, any of that kind of stuff, let me know. Otherwise, I will be winding this down if there aren't any more questions. Larry says, what do you think about networking events that you pay to go to? Well, that's going to depend. Some things are justified and some things aren't. If it's a big, famous thing that is well known, then it is conceivable that they would have entry admission, or you have to pay for specific, events. Like if it's a trade show or something, that you might have to pay to attend specific classes or events as part of it. That's not the end of the world. That's not necessarily a red flag. If it's like a big deal, if it's a famous big thing. But if it's an unknown thing, that just put on locally, a lot of those can be a money grab. They just get some speaker to talk about stuff that you already know or stuff that's not particularly useful, and they take you for a fee, an entry fee. So I mean, there's a lot of people selling advice. Yeah, I know that's rich coming from me. I mean, I give a lot of stuff away for free. I'm here answering questions freely, but that is a thing, and you get people that do it for questionable reasons. So just research the thing first. Make sure it's something that is actually useful. It's a well-known thing that in certain industries, if you're in the business of being a sort of middleman, a connector, you want people to think that you can give them access to something. That's a well-known kind of, I don't know if you want to call it a con, but it's, there's a lot of people peddling this. Oh yeah, we can introduce you to this. For example, this is something I've taken issue with in the past, because a lot of MBA programs, right, of which, I've had some involvement, they really ratchet up their admissions fees to what I think are exorbitant levels. And they're teaching you the same old stuff that's been around forever. It's like charging somebody $50,000 to get a degree in mathematics. You could pick up books that teach you all the mathematics. It's been around for, even bachelor level mathematics has been around for a few hundred years, 300 years. That information is free. So why would you pay $50,000? Well, they claim that, well, you're going to be rubbing shoulders with people that have won Nobel Prizes and people that are, the sort of it crowd for your particular region, and, professors and people like this that can really open doors for you. It's like, sometimes that's true, but a lot of times it's not. And they're just using that as like, they're dangling that carrot in front of people. And, you know what I mean? It's a con, basically. It's really not that valuable. So that's my take on that. So I would just research whatever it is that you're specifically wondering about, whatever event it is. I'd research it. If it's a local thing that hasn't been going for a long time, you know what I mean? I'd question it. If it's a big famous thing that's known like nationally or internationally, and it's well established and it's known outside of your city and all this kind of, then that I wouldn't really see that as too much of a red flag. Donna is here. Good morning, Donna. I might be in salary negotiations this week with the wind range between 25 and 37 an hour. How do you get to the high range? I'm uniquely qualified and will be spending nights and weekends doing a lot of work. Okay. I don't know what stage you're at yet, but just some conventional wisdom for this is never give a number. Like until they actually give you an offer, don't give a number, because that's bad for several reasons. If your number is too high, you price yourself out of the running. If your number is too low, they hold you to it. And it's a way to not pay you maybe a higher amount that you'd be worth. The only real bargaining power you have is after they've given you an offer. Okay, so once they give you an offer, if you look at it from their perspective, usually what's going on behind the scenes, the most common scenario is that a recruiter has recommended you to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager said, yeah, I concur, I'll go with this person. So they agree to make you an offer. They send you the offer. If you were to throw the offer back in their face at this point, it would be embarrassing for the recruiter, okay? If you were to not work out, it would be somewhat painful for them, because they've put special work into you specifically at this point, right? So they want you to work out. They want to come to an agreement and just hire you. Okay, that's what they want. So any delay or any kind of threat to this is painful, okay? Now, in some situations, you got to be aware that it may not be possible to negotiate. They just have in businesses where there's a lot of employees, like there's a lot of people for the amount of money they make, like the ratio of employees to revenue is very high. They got a lot of people to make a little bit of money. They may not be able to negotiate. If you have the opposite, you've got only a few people that are in charge of something that makes a lot of money, they might have a lot of room to negotiate. But it will be capped. So like there's a certain point they just can't go over. Usually that's like, the lowest range for the boss. You can't go above that. You just can't. You're not going to be making more money than the boss did when they started out. So, you know what I mean? Like there's some hard stops there. So, you have to ask for something reasonable. Knowing what's reasonable is the trick. Okay. Now, the way to do this, the structure of a lot of salary negotiations are, you can't just demand things and then that's it, because that sends the signal that you're just greedy. You're not willing to work with them. You want stuff, but you're giving them nothing, right? So you have to be able to say, like, look, I'm used to, 2 weeks vacation a year, but you're only giving me one. That's I'm taking a cut there. You want me to work weird hours. You want me to work weird days off, or, whatever it is. I'm not used to that, but you know what? I'll give you that. That's fine. That's fine. Not a problem. Sick days, fine. Vacation, fine. Seniority for picking vacation, fine. You got to give them some stuff, right? And then you got to make it easy for them. You say like, look, I gave you this, I gave you that, I gave you that. I'm not really happy about that, but I can make it work. But I'm going to need you to change that number. If you scratch out that number, you enter this. We got a deal. I can start whenever you want. We're ready to go. But I'm going to need this, right? So it has to be more of a give and take. It has to feel like a give and take. They have to feel like you're in good faith. You're wanting to work with them. You're not just being a greedy jerk because you can, and you're not seeing how much you can get. They don't like that, right? So it's got to be a friendly exchange. And for that reason, I would recommend that you don't do this over email. Instead, you do it over the phone if possible. But what would be ideal? It's usually not possible. What would be ideal would be to do it face to face. You get in the same room with them. I don't know if that's possible, but you just say like, look, like I need this and I need that. But you what? You got this, no problem. This working, I'm always on call, sure, no problem. I'll give you that. That's fine. So they feel like, okay, you're working with them, right? That's the basic idea. Okay, does that make sense? I did like a video a while back. It's on my channel. It's called Salary Negotiation, and it's like an hour long. I don't know if that turns you off, but I go into a lot of the detail of how that stuff works. You really need to know, you really need to have done your homework beforehand before you go into negotiations. You need to know what makes sense for you and what doesn't make sense for you. You have to know that before you go in. You can't just like see what they offer and decide yes or no. You have to know your position. You also have to do as much research as you possibly can on what their position is. What's the average or the median pay rate for someone with your skills in that industry, in that region? Things like this. And if you can corroborate that by asking around, if possible, it may not be possible, but as much as you could do, you got to get that. So that you're asking for something reasonable, right? That gives you a lot of confidence to be able to ask for it. If you're flying completely blind, you don't know how high they can go. You don't know, where their range is. You have absolutely no idea. It can be quite nerve-wracking and you risk making a big mistake, right? So the more research you do and the more preparation you do, the better. And then, the more sort of pleasant and happy you are as you go through the process, they will, and that they can personally respond to, that will help tremendously. Because remember, bosses aren't stupid. Bosses have a history of what usually happens is a lot of employees will try and bluff the boss to get more money, right? They'll say, I need this amount or I'm leaving, right? That's a semi-common thing that a lot of bosses have to deal with. And most bosses that have any experience have learned over the years, to call the bluff. Because they're not going to just give it, oh, you want more money? Okay, you got more money. That's not really sustainable, you know what I mean? And as soon as one employee gets more money, the others are going to be asking for more money. And it's not really fair to give more, a raise to someone because they ask and not give it to other people. It creates all kinds of problems. So for many reasons, bosses have learned to call the bluff, right? Now, if this is the only job offer you have, you don't have a lot of power. If your only choices are unemployment or this, there's really a limit about what you can ask for here. In a perfect world, if you could go out and get, you have a stack of interviews lined up with other companies, you might feel a bit more bold because it's like, okay, well, if this doesn't work out, if I ask for this and they say no, it's okay. I got a lot of things lined up or I got other offers or whatever. That gives you a lot of power to be able to play hardball. But if you don't have that, you don't have any other option other than unemployment. If this goes south, that ties your hands quite a bit. Okay, so there's a lot of facets to this. I could go on forever, but hopefully that makes sense. Donna, that you have a very good question there. A lot of people are in this situation. There's a handle. I have 2 brain cells. How to find job as freshers, as every company wants experience. Devs, is that? Developers? One word, networking. That's how you short circuit that catch-22, right? You know, it's an entry-level job, but they want like 5 years experience, which is a total contradiction. You know, how do you get around that? Or you can't get experience because no one will hire you, and no one will hire you because you can't get experience, right? You don't have any experience. That catch-22, that vicious circle, you break out of that by getting a job through networking, okay? You reach out to a hiring manager and you do it in the right way, okay? You learn the protocol of how to do that. I have all of that in a course, okay? This one here, the Get Hired course. I cover that in great detail, templates, step by step. I lay it all out for you. I have some free videos on my YouTube channel, but learn that. Because the thing is, when you approach a hiring manager and you say, hey, you know, I'm here. I have this skill. Here's what I can do for you. If ever you're looking for a developer or whatever you are, you know, that can do this, you know, let me know because I'd love to work for you, right? Now, how many other candidates have done that? How many other messages from other candidates has that hiring manager received? Usually it's 0. You're the only one. Now, if they do have a job that they were gearing up to post or to hire for, it may come down between you and one other person. I mean, those are really good odds, right? How many people are applying for the posted job? 200, 500, right? You know, you're going in with like hundreds of other people. It's pretty hard to elevate yourself above the crowd that way, right? So in a word, networking, learn networking, where you reach out to organizations and companies that have potential to hire you, okay, before they've posted a job. And don't talk to recruiters. It's pointless. Talk to the hiring managers, okay? That's the way to go, okay? That's how you get out of this situation, certainly for entry-level jobs and for a lot higher jobs. It's also coincidentally how they hire a lot of executives. Executives don't apply for a job with a resume and then they talk to a recruiter that says, so tell me about yourself. You know, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You know, that's not the process for executive managers, right? That's not how they get hired. They get hired through networking. It's basically a variation of this method, right? This is a very effective method. It's actually the most common method that people use to get jobs. And if you don't believe me on this, do your own research. You'll see that it's true. More people get hired through networking than through posted jobs. Okay? So that's what I'll say. Best of luck to you. I have 2 brain cells. Hopefully you got more than that. I'm sure you do. Does that course provide getting a job as a game developer? No, it doesn't. I mean, it talks about it in general. Listen, you don't need my course. Start doing your own research, okay? Learn all you can about networking. Learn the protocol of reaching out to hiring managers. I mean, I have some great videos on my YouTube channel. Like look at those. Here, if you can just indulge me for just a minute here, if I can pull up a web browser here. Okay, so this is what I can recommend. Okay, great. It went right to my stuff. But if you're in YouTube, just say the name of my YouTube channel. Say the company's expert. How to find jobs, maybe. I don't know. Let's see what it comes up with. No, of course not. But I've done some, there's this video here called Hidden Job Market. Okay, so you could type in the company's expert, then Hidden Job Market. Watch this video. Okay. And let's see. Where are the good jobs, maybe? YouTube search, it doesn't really it keeps surfacing my more popular videos, but it doesn't actually here. If you go to my channel, I'll show you exactly where. Just bear with me for 1 second. This will be worth your while, I promise. Okay, because I've done this many times in live streams. There's a couple of videos that I've done where I walk you through this visually. And this is a very powerful technique to reach out to hiring managers. God, I've done a lot of videos, haven't I? A lot of those are podcasts. But I mean, I've done this demonstration. Some of you guys here might have recalled that I've done this previously, like a few weeks ago, where I did the thing with Google Maps. I showed you how to do that. Typical. I can't find anything when I need it. Here. This is one. Okay, so it's called How to Find Jobs Near You, Local Jobs. So if you go up to the company's expert and type in local jobs, okay, will that surface that video? No, of course not. I mean, it's only in the title. Where to find jobs near you. YouTube really wants to bury. So there we go. How to find jobs near you. Okay, so that's what you enter. Go to YouTube search and type in the company's expert, which is my name of my YouTube channel, and where to find jobs near you. And then when this comes up, just click on that. And hopefully that makes sense. Okay, that shows you visually how you can locate a lot of companies that are probably hiring that are near you. And then it kind of walks you through like how you can contact them. Okay. So there you go. Okay, I have to wind this down soon, but I'll just sort of go through the last comments here. Donna says, got it. Give and take. I appreciate your time and advice. I'll look for your video. Okay, best of luck to you, Donna. Yeah, it's, the key to being successful in negotiation is not like how you talk to the other person or any of that. It's how many options you have. Like if you have a plan B or a plan C, that gives you a lot of power, because that gives you, if you know that these people have just offered you something that pays X, you can tell the people you're negotiating with, it's like they're offering you less than X. Nope, sorry. I need this, right? They can't intimidate you. They can't bully you or persuade you or pressure you into taking anything less. Sorry, I need this. I got it on, I have an offer, from another company. Can you match it? Kind of thing. It's kind of hard to negotiate against someone that's got a lot of alternative options, right? So that's the key to negotiation. If you were searching for a job for a week and you came up with this option, and you feel that if this falls through, if you job search for another 2 weeks, you'll be able to come up with something else for sure. That gives you some power here. But if you've been searching, you've been out of work for 2 years, and this is the only thing that's come along in 2 years, you may not have a lot of power to negotiate here. It's about improving your competitive situation and having other options. That's what gives you power in negotiation. It's not about how to persuade people. It's knowing your position and sticking to it. And I have 2 brain cells says, okay, noted your words. Thanks for your tip. Best of luck to you. I have 2 brain cells. Listen, I know some of this stuff sounds weird, like networking and stuff, but it really is very powerful. It's the key to getting really good jobs. It's a key to elevating yourself above the crowd of your competitors. It's not because you're smarter or you're better or you've got connections that nobody else has. It's not about that. It's about the fact that you took the initiative to reach out to that hiring manager when no one else did. You're the only one that knocked on the door. So if they're going to hire, you're their number one candidate, right? That's how you elevate yourself above everyone else. It shows that you're professional. It shows that you care about specifically working there. You're not just looking for a job anywhere. You're looking to work there. That's very powerful, right? People love that. They want to hire people that want to work for them specifically. That's what they want. So congratulations. When you do this, you are that person, right? You jump to the top of the resume pile, right? And then on top of it, depending on what you say to them, you can go further. You can ask, I'd love to be able to get your expert opinion on, some questions about this industry, where it's going, would you be able to spare me 30 minutes, stuff like that. You actually meet these people. Then you're the only candidate that like they've actually met. And if they got along with you and they, thought you were professional and polite and all the rest of it, it's like, you're a shoo-in for it if they're hiring, right? So there's a lot to learn there, and it's very, very powerful. But a lot of people that are developers, like they tend to be introverted, technical type people. They shy away from this kind of activity, and it's really to their detriment. So the more you learn about this, the further you'll go. Best of luck to you. Okay, thank you so much for being here. There's 12 people here. You guys are awesome. I'll be back next week with another episode of how to get hired. If you have any questions, you can ask me then. In the meantime, check out my Write Like a Professional course. It is available as of today, and there's a special discount if you get it soon, if you get it before December 1st. So thank you so much. I'll see you guys in a week, and I wish you the absolute best of luck. Take care.